Versions in this class, we're going to be using this chart mainly to help us out. The purpose of this chart is to tell us how far to move the decimal place in a number. We've heard before that there's 100 centimeters in a meter, and all that is a difference of where you move the decimal place in the number. So here, this is a prefix chart. So that means the slight part of the word that comes before the root word. So for example, our base units are going to be grams, liters, and meters. I'm going to use meters for the example right now. So here, a base unit would be meters. Some other ones, this would be a decimeter. This would be a centimeter. And this would be a millimeter. And then if we come up, this would be a decameter. This would be a hectometer. And this would be a kilometer. The main ones we're going to focus on is going to be kilometer, meter, centimeter, and millimeter. So what this chart is used for is if I tell you go meters to centimeters, if you move down the chart, you're looking at this red line and you're going to move the decimal right in the number. If you're going up the chart at all, that corresponds with the blue line and you're going to move the decimal left. Let's look at some examples. Here we see our chart over here. So what we're concerned about right now is we're not doing the full conversion. We're looking at, should we move the decimal left or right? And that corresponds with if we're moving up or if we're moving down based on our prefix. So right here, convert 233 meters, meters is our base unit, to centimeters. So that's going to go meters to centimeters. That's going to be moving down. So we know when we get to the full conversion, we're going to move the decimal right. Convert 722 meters to kilometers. So remember, meters is one of our base units that doesn't get a prefix. And then we're going from the base unit to kilometers. That's moving up. So we're looking at this blue line. We're going to move the decimal left. Now, if we're going to look at the last one, I switched it up a little bit. And rather than meters, we're using grams. But the cool thing about this is the prefixes are what really matters. You need to know what the base units are and what the prefixes are. So we look here, grams is still a base unit. So we're still right here. And so we're going from kilograms right here to milligrams all the way down here. So our question is, are we moving up or down these set of stairs? For kilograms to milligrams, we're moving down. Which line corresponds with moving down? The red line, move decimal right. So now that we're thinking about which way to move the decimal, the next question would be, how many decimal places do we move it? The answer is, however many steps you march down or up is how many decimal places you move it. So let's look at these examples again. All we're answering is how many decimal places should I move? So if I look at 233 meters, that starts right here. Meters is a base unit. To centimeters, I would have to march 2 steps. So this answer would be, I'm going to get rid of that. This answer would be 2 places. If we look at number 2, we're going 722 meters. Meters is a base unit to kilometers. That's going to be 1, 2, 3 decimal places for number 2. And you could see once we mix how many decimal places with which way they go, that's going to be how you do your conversions. Number 3, we're going 898 kilometers. And remember, this could be kilograms to milligrams. Let's see. think I need an extra L in here. This could be kilograms to milligrams, but we're using meters here. So here we have, I'm going to get rid of this. Here, kilometers to millimeters. So I just need to see how many steps that's going to be. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 steps to get there. So I'm going to move the decimal 6 places. I'm going to get rid of that. Okay. So now let's put it all together. So let's look at number 1. I'll do it in purple. We're doing 233 meters. That's right here. And we're going to go to centimeters. So you can do either or. The two things you need to know is how many places to move the decimal place and which direction. So right now we have 233. The decimal place, if you don't see one, is right after it. So 233 meters to centimeters. So that's 1, 2. I'm going to move it 2 decimal places, and I'm going to move it to the right. Because if I'm moving down, I'm moving to the right. So that's going to look like 1, 2. So this looks a little weird because there aren't any numbers here. If you move the decimal place to the right and there's no numbers to the right, you fill in zeros. So our answer here would be 23,300 centimeters in a meter and 233 meters. Number 2, let's look at number 2. Excuse me. All right, let's look at number 2. We have 722 meters to kilometers. So I'm going to start with my 722. I'm going to place my decimal place, which if you don't see one is right after the whole number. So we're going meters, which is a base unit, to kilometers. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3 decimal places I'm going to move it. And I'm going to move it left because I'm going up. Remember, the right or left is taken care of by if you're going up or down, and how many steps tells you the decimal places. So here I have 3 decimal places to the left. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. So the decimal is going to go before. We have 0.722 kilometers in 722 meters. All right, we got one more. So here, again, could throw an extra L in here. And right now we're working with the metric system. Okay. So we have 898 kilometers. So I'm going to write that 898. The decimal goes right after to millimeters. So we're starting at kilometers and we're going to millimeters down here. So this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 decimal places. So I'm going to come here and I moved right or down. So I'm going to move the decimal right. So let's do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then each place I move is an imaginary zero or is an imaginary number there right now, but I'm going to fill that in with zeros. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then, so our answer would be 8, 9, 8, 0. We have 6 zeros. And I'm going to throw some commas in there to make it look a little nicer. And our answer would be this many millimeters in that many kilometers.